One cafes offer inviting spaces where you can bank, get answers to your financial questions, recharge your devices, and connect to on-the-house Wi-Fi, all with a handcrafted Pete's beverage in hand. Capital One cardholders get 50% off Pete's handcrafted beverages every day. With extended hours, ATMs, and plenty of space to get comfortable, Capital One cafes are built to fit your life.
Hey, I'm Angela, and welcome to Creative Disruption. This series was created for the innovations and the challenges that came out of last year. Whether you're a freelancer, a side hustler, just starting out in business, or maybe you've had 20 years in, it doesn't matter. The whole point of Creative Disruption is to talk about how to grow, how to pivot, and how to adapt. In this series, you're going to learn about ways to manage cash flow, best insights on personal branding, and ways to market your business. And I know that if you're like me, you always want to learn, you always want to grow. So I'm really looking forward to sharing Creative Disruption with you.
Downtown West Palm Beach is the county's waterfront destination for all to enjoy a unique fusion of dining, shopping, and cultural experiences. From green market strolls to rooftop views, downtown creates an immersive atmosphere for everyone to explore, discover, and create lasting memories in the heart of paradise. Hop on the free trolley or circuit shuttle and see for yourself. Visit downtownwpb.com.
My business philosophies has always been to start small and then, in incremental ways, build the organization.
If you don't mind telling me a little bit about DramaWorks and how it was established in West Palm Beach about 20 years ago.
Yes, well, I actually first moved here in 1991, and at the time I was in a different profession, but I had started in my youth as a professional actor. And when I moved here in 1991, there was no professional regional theater in West Palm Beach, Florida. And in 2000, long story short, in 2000, the city bought this theater on our behalf. We knew we needed to raise $5 million at the time to buy it back from the city, but also to cover our renovation expenses. And within 5 months, we raised $5 million. And the deal was we were going to buy this building from the city within a 5-year period, but we decided to buy the theater from the city within the 2-year period. So we now own the facility, and we've been operating there since 2011. Our grand opening was 11/11/11, and we have been going strong. And just prior to the pandemic, our business was up like 25% this year. So we now run our shows 4 to 5 weeks. We do 5 productions every year as part of our regular season, which goes from October through early June. And I usually do a summer program and try to attract a younger audience during that period.
Obviously, theaters and the arts industry was one of the hardest hit segments this past year in industries. So I want to know, Bill, what were some of the ways that DramaWorks has pivoted last year? And yet I know we're still not out of the stresses of last year, but I know that you've done some really clever, thought-provoking ways to grow your theater. And I'd love for you to share with everyone what you've done.
Yes, thank you. I want to start with, first of all, what our initial response was. I think that I am always careful not to have a knee-jerk reaction. So, when the pandemic kind of shut down many arts institutions, I think there was a knee-jerk reaction with many nonprofits to say, now we need you more than ever, please donate to our organization. And we took some time to really determine what our response was going to be in the community, because the reality is our organization was financially strong. For 20 years, we, as a nonprofit, we have operated in the black, which meant we had a lot of money in reserve. We had nearly $3 million in reserve funds. So we didn't feel we were in a position to just immediately ask the community to donate money to us. And I think it makes an organization look like it's holding on by a string if your first thing you're going to do during this kind of crisis is ask for money. And so we determined that we were going to be there for our audience rather than they needed to be there for us. So we decided we were going to have a very strong presence online, that we're going to offer all of our programming for free. And for much of the pandemic, we were running programming for 2 to 3 days a week. We brought our new play reading series online. We were reading one new play a week. We've had a month-long events where we're focusing on a particular contemporary playwright, and in this case, in that program, we were trying to focus on the diversity within the arts community and the diversity of playwrights, of contemporary American playwrights. And then I also had a series of interview programs where I'd interview some of our veteran artists. And I've also had another series that I was interviewing what we call luminaries of stage and screen. And there was such, Louis Gossett Jr. was one. I have Tova Feldshuh coming up. So a lot of known screen and stage actors in particular. But what we quickly learned was that we probably should have been doing this a long time ago, online programming, because, and I'll just give you one minor example, we used to do our weekly new play reading series, and I would do it upstairs in a very small studio theater, which only seats like 35 patrons, and I would always fill the house. But once we brought it online, there was many occasions that we were having 500 plus devices tuning into our readings, which meant that we had at least 500 people listening in, but you can imagine that could be up to 1,000, 1,500 people listening in, and it was from around the country and even overseas. And so we quickly learned that this was a great opportunity to build a new audience, to find a new audience, to raise awareness of our organization. And so it's been very successful, and now we're trying just to determine what programming we will continue to do online. Some things we found have worked better online, and in some cases we believe that we will do some events live, but also have an opportunity that we will stream it live for those who can't be in the building. The other thing we did is we filmed a production. We did one character play called The Belle of Amherst about Emily Dickinson, and it was professionally filmed. And we certainly weren't the only theater company in the country producing, but we were one of the few. And there was a lot of obstacles at that time with the Actors Union, but we just pushed forward because I knew it was an opportunity to make our organization stand out. I got the Wall Street Journal to agree to review the production. We filmed it live with Comar Productions here in West Palm Beach. It was beautifully filmed. It looked like a PBS special, and it got a lot of attention, and it was streamed for only a few days. And the Wall Street Journal gave it a raving review, and it really helped raise our national profile. And so the other thing we determined is we are going to now film several of our productions every year, and the hope is that once if we can navigate with the publishers and with the various unions, our hope is that after a show has run live at the theater, that X amount of months later, we will offer it as a streamed event to people in the state or outside the state and throughout the world. So I often use the analogy of what was going on in the sports industry in the 1960s. There was this reluctance to film live games because people were concerned that it was going to affect attendance. The reality is it did affect attendance. Attendance skyrocketed because you're exposing more people to it. So I think filming productions is going to be a great revenue source for our organization in the future, and it's going to draw a lot of attention to my theater and several other theaters that jump on board. And I also think it's going to go as far as to affecting tourism, because you will find that if people are getting exposed to various theaters throughout the country, they are going to pick their favorite theaters, just like we pick our favorite sports teams, And we're going to travel to those cities just to have the opportunity to be there live, because just like sports, it's always more exciting to be there live.
I love that. And it's really an amazing situation that you can find something wonderful out of something negative to grow in times of desperation. I wonder, Bill, what advice do you have for other theaters, whether they're community or professional, moving forward, that they can take from what you've done to continue to grow and build out their audience as well?
Well, thank you. That's kind of a loaded question, but let me take a stab at that. Well, first of all, our initial reaction is always a pandemic, and you have the fear and terror that washes over you. But just like building the company, where you have all these obstacles, you have to use every situation as an opportunity to be innovative. To say, well, this is what we can't do, and so what can we do? And the last thing that actors and directors want to do is do all of our programming online. We want a live audience. We need that feedback from our audience. That's why we do it, because it's a communal experience. But what's our next, what can we do? And we said, well, what we can do is go online, and then turning that into a positive situation. So, but the one thing I really want to encourage, and another wonderful thing that has happened in this industry, is many theater companies would often view each other as competitors. But the first thing that happened in this industry is immediately, on a weekly basis, I was on the phone with Judy Mitchell from the Kravis Center, Andrew Cato with the Maltz Jupiter Theater, and there was an immediate coming together. And then there was statewide Zoom meetings with artistic directors and managing directors. And then over time, there was nationwide weekly and bi-weekly meetings with artistic directors and managing directors. And the point, which addresses your question, is don't be afraid to go to others for advice. As a medium-sized theater company, I often will talk to a larger theater company that maybe has a few years more experience than I do and say, I'm in this situation, have you been there, how did you handle it? And so to any young company or startup company, I'd say use your colleagues for counsel and for advice. DramaWorks is successful, and it's not because I made all the right decisions in 20 years. It's because I might have made some wrong decisions and learned from those mistakes. And I often embrace younger companies and become an advisor to them. So I guess that's the simple advice: is communicate with your colleagues and brainstorm together. And when I was president of the Florida Professional Theaters Association, I started having meetings throughout the state. And there was never any particular agenda. The understanding was we were going to sit around a table and share our success stories and share our challenges and come up with solutions together. And, that old saying, stronger together. So there's strength in collaboration. And that's the other thing that we're going to find during this pandemic, and I failed to mention this earlier, is the production that I did, that we filmed, was a co-production with Actors Playhouse in Miami. And the reason I decided to do that was because we do not share an audience, and we could share expenses. And now their audience is being exposed to DramaWorks, and DramaWorks' audience is getting exposed to Actors Playhouse. And I think you're going to find in the future there's going to be a lot of collaborations with theater companies, because the whole spirit in the community throughout the country has changed.
I hope you enjoyed that interview, and now it's time to take out your pen and paper. Don't go anywhere, because we are going to do a webinar where we discuss exactly what we just talked about, taking actionable steps for you to use, and we're going to do a live Q&A.
Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that interview. So many good takeaways that Bill has figured out for the Palm Beach Drama Works. And the whole point of this episode is to take what he just talked about and use it for your own business, right? That's the whole point here. And I really hope that you can find a lot of value. I really want to talk now about how to engage your audience using technology. Bill talked about so many key takeaways, but I feel like what really resonated with me was really using technology and how, if you're not already implementing it, how you can do that right now. So, right now, here you are with me live streaming. And the live streaming trend is growing constantly at a high pace due to its appeal to helping out businesses in so many different industries. Bill just spoke about that. If this doesn't help you give you any more motivation to want to live stream, just know that 80% of live stream viewers will watch a stream from a brand rather than go online and read its blog. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with blogging there, but it just goes to show the impact and the power of being able to communicate here tonight, right? So here I am live streaming with you, and I want to share with you some of the things that we have found as a benefit when we're actually here live streaming. So some of those benefits really include, and I want you to think about this now, how you can use this in your own business. It gives you the ability to engage with your audience to create a deeper connection, right? Because you're watching someone live and you're watching them go through the motions. And on a side note, you can even comment with me if you want in the comments. Obviously, can both be used for education and entertainment. And the wonderful thing about live streaming is you can go live by yourself with a team of one or two people, and you don't have to hire multiple people to help you. Another benefit is that you don't need a ton of professional equipment, right? You just need to utilize the resources that you have, such as a laptop and a streaming service. And also, the wonderful thing is you get simultaneous playback and recording. And so, if you didn't know this already, that once a live stream is over, you actually can store and download it and then immediately upload that onto your platform of choice. So, like Bill was talking about, the wonderful aspect was he was taking a live theater production, filming it, and live streaming it out to so many more people. And obviously, that's one way that you can use it. But even as a small business owner, there are many ways you can start thinking right now and writing yourself little notes about how you can implement a live stream. And I don't want you to feel intimidated by it, right? There's something obviously a little bit scary about having to put yourself on camera and share and talk, but it's something that you can take practice with. So one thing you can actually do to start doing that is just practice with a colleague or someone you know. Say, hey, let's go onto live streaming service, and maybe you can do a private live streaming and practice and see how it feels to kind of have some interaction. Another suggestion would be to watch other people that are live streaming. Take notes and look at their cadence and see what they're saying or what they're asking, or maybe how they're poising the whole live streaming, right? And that's a wonderful way to keep going forward. So I want to talk now about some ways that you can use live streaming and how you can actually utilize it in your business, right? So an obvious here, but one way is you can use live streaming for education, right? So as we know, many education industries have started to use live streaming as a way to put out their lessons and their content if you're no longer in person. But it can continue on. What the wonderful part is in person and also online. So an example, if you're thinking right now, well, what can I use for an educational piece if I'm a small business owner? One example is you can do live lessons. You can do visual demonstrations, and you also can have student interaction. And the benefits of utilizing education is you get to have real live chats and real problem solving one-on-one if you're not able to meet in person. Also, as a teacher, you can tailor your course content and you can allow for interactivity with your students. So think about as a business owner, a creative entrepreneur, a solopreneur, what are you doing where you sell? What are the products you make? And how can you educate your audience?
Maybe you make some type of jewelry that's with organic fibers. Does your audience know about that? Can you go onto a live stream and show them how you're making that and the materials that you're using to further educate your audience? You don't want to be presumptuous that they know about all the things you do. So live streaming is a really wonderful way to talk with them and to discuss what you do. Another way, I think everyone likes sales, right? You like making that sale. And obviously, e-commerce is going to continue to see an increase in sales when you're live streaming your products. I know I've personally seen a lot of artists that utilize this method where they go online and they're talking to their audience about their products that they're selling or maybe limited editions. It's a wonderful way to interact and connect with your audience. And obviously, the benefit of that, if you don't need any more proof, I found this wonderful stat that says 64% of consumers said that they are more likely to make a purchase after watching an online video. So obviously, it's a very cost-effective way to get your product out there and connect with your audience. So between sales and education, I think right now you can start to see there are some major overlaps. And another point to make is if you're not comfortable with the live streaming option, there are ways and services that you can live stream and then kind of put it back online. Kind of what we've done here, where we've taken a recorded part, edited it down, live stream it, and then we have another live aspect like I am here. So there's many variations that you can do. And the great thing is that technology has really caught up with the past year where everyone was using live. So a lot of these services are very intuitive now to really help you. So I thought this was a clever thing to think about. If you are a small business owner, or maybe you have a large business, customer support is a way to utilize a live streaming service. And I don't know if you've ever really thought about this, but you can use real-time live video to actually engage with your audience. And I want to share one company that's doing this, and you don't have to use this company. Obviously, you can find many different ones that are similar, but there's a company called Video Ask that actually allows you to create one-of-a-kind personal videos to answer your audience's questions. And this is a really clever way to allow your audience, they can actually answer back via a text or a video, and you can do the same. So what's wonderful about that is that you can connect with the audience. You realize that they're a real human and not a bot. Another way that you can utilize Video Ask or a similar service, because there's many, is you can actually have something on your website. So when someone clicks on your website, you can actually say, hey, everyone, welcome to my website. Let me know if you have any questions. And then the best part about that is if you're an online business, I don't know if you're like me, but you always want to make sure the business is real, right? So there's something about seeing a real human behind the business that validates, okay, it's real. I know what I'm about to click on. So just consider that as you're moving forward. Another way is to increase audience engagement. Obviously, we're talking about audience engagement through DramaWorks and how much that has helped their business, but also think about different ways that you can use audience engagement to your benefit. So think about turning a live event into a live stream that can obviously reach a broader audience. Think about something that's audio based, right? Like a podcast where you can do a video live stream. Maybe you're interviewing someone and that can actually be filmed and put out live so people can engage and watch it. Also, what about going behind the scenes? I'm sure you're doing a lot of production, you're doing a lot of things all the time that you're making or creating, and you can utilize live video to show your audience how you're creating, how you're making things, right? The more that you can connect with the people out there that you don't know, the more likely you're creating interest and value in who you are. And that's really, at the end of the day, what makes a sale, right? Having a great product, but also connecting with your audience on a greater level. So some trends to be aware of, if you're not, that this year alone in 2021, video accounted for 82% of total internet traffic, and live video was 13% of all the internet. I mean, that's pretty insane if you really think about how much video has transformed our daily lives. And obviously, the wonderful part is now
we're finding, I think, a middle balance, right, between everything, where maybe a year ago we were only doing video, but now we're finding a balance, like what Bill was saying. We don't want to only do video. We want to have that audience in person. But you can balance the both out and find and realize that you're actually connecting with more people than you'd ever imagined. And another great thing to take note of that I didn't make mention to is also, once a video is out there, you can then send the replay to the people that missed it, right? So take your email list, send it to them, put it onto social media. Hey, you didn't catch this live? That's okay. Check this out now, which will increase the views, right? So there's many ways you can use this to benefit you. Some live stream options, if you're thinking about, this all sounds wonderful, what do I do now? Well, don't worry. You can utilize services such as StreamYard, which is what I'm personally using right now. There's also Restream. These are services where you're actually going to use the service to go onto the internet. If this scares you or intimidates you, well, then you can directly stream right onto YouTube, onto Facebook, onto Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. And I wanted to include Clubhouse. If you're not on Clubhouse, though this is not a video app, this is something that actually you can stream your voice, right? And continue to connect with your audience as well. So if you find that, if any takeaway can be taken from this episode, is that just continue to be creative and continue to find ways to greater connect with your audience, because no matter what happens out into the world, you have to continue your business and you have to keep moving forward, right? And that's really the premise of this whole episode and this whole series, is to make you feel confident in yourself and all the things that you're doing, and to learn and grow and adapt, right? So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Creative Disruption. And I want to make sure to let you know that we have one final episode that I'm finally going to have a partner with. And I'm going to have Jessica, the other half of Archive, joining me over on this side next week on Monday, December 20th, and we'll be going live at 6 p.m. So we're going to be doing a recap of everything that we've learned, and we're going to do live webinar style, where we want you to ask questions and talk to us and engage with us, because we really want to help you grow and scale, whether you're just starting out, you're 15, 20 years in, it doesn't matter. We're here for you. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll see you very soon.